Welcome to the second part of the February special edition, the Love edition. The first part was very wonderful. This second part is more intense and it has a lot of fun. This is where all the fun is. So stay tuned and enjoy what we are going to discuss. Okay. So there's this question that a lot of people have been asking. That's if the wife cheats, who should make the decision to inform the husband? Is it the wife or a trusted third person like a pastor, a counselor? Who is the right person to make the decision that I have to inform my husband that I have cheated? And then even with the informing, we have talked a little about that, but I want us to talk more about it. First of all, who should make the decision whether to inform the husband or not? And then who should inform the husband? So let's start with Pastor Mandy.
That's funny. As to who should inform the husband, the one who has committed the crime. The Bible says we should confess our sins one to another. So it is not about who should do it. It is you who carried your body to go and commit the crime. Who you should be the one to inform. But I guess what you actually want to do is that should she inform the man directly or have an assistant or get somebody involved? And I think that one solely depends on the person or the husband or the type of husband the woman have. If you are you have a husband who you communicate with and have good rapport with, you may not need to tell somebody. And when you have that kind of husband, you hardly cheat on them.
Wonderful. Mr. Wonder.
So that brings me to the point that in most cases for women that cheat, they'll find it so difficult to tell their husbands. Because like she said, for the husbands that are much more receptive, their wife will usually not cheat. But it's more of the ones that are aggressive, intolerant, like they are not even ready to listen to any excuse, nothing. So they are the ones who will cheat. And in that case, it's likely that they will not say it. So that brings the problem. And that's what we are trying to look at. So for most of those cases, the first instinct for me is that I will tell you that don't tell him. That's the first instance. But going into deeper into it, you yourself, you have to prepare yourself to be ready to deal with the aftermath of telling him. Even that one, I will advise you not to tell him alone. So that if something is flying, you can somebody can save you. So for such a person, you have to find a way to, if you really want to, in fact, the decision should even be from you. It has to be your decision to tell him. Nobody can force you. In fact, nobody can even convince you to do it. It has to be your decision. And when you reach that point, you must be ready for whatever will come. And then you tackle it in a way that you don't die before solving the problem.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well.
Yeah, so before I even answer that question, I think a boss made a statement about if your husband is intolerant. I kind of feel like it's giving an excuse as to why the woman is going to cheat. And again, I would always say this. You knew who you was before you married. You knew that this is the one that if his tea is not hot to a certain level, he gets angry. But you still decided to marry him because me, I love you. Exactly. So now you can't go in and say that, okay, he was intolerant, he was aggressive, and that's why I decided to cheat. You saw the signs. You ignored the signs. And now you're using the signs as an excuse. No. Whatever your reason for cheating, you can't try to pin the blame on somebody else or on your partner because you knew who the person was from the beginning. And as to who, how, or where she's going to tell him, like he said, you need to get to that decision yourself. If, God forbid, amen. If I decide to cheat, again, God forbid, if I decide to cheat, I won't cheat one time and go, darling, I cheated, okay, I forgive you, then I'll go and do it again. darling, I've done it again. No. I would do it to a point where I don't want to do it anymore. And then when we look at it, how many times do people get to that point on their own? They don't really get to that point on their own unless maybe by divine nature of God, God tells you that actually this thing you are doing there, if you continue, the next one you will die. Even the ones that they didn't even get to it by themselves, they don't want to die, that's why. Or they get caught, or whoever they are cheating on suddenly decides that I don't want to be a side boyfriend anymore. Me too, I love you. Me too, I want to. Then now, okay, they are scared because the stability they had from their marriage is being threatened. Okay, so now let me go and tell my husband so that then he can forgive. That on its own would affect how you are going to tell him. Because if you are telling him out of fear of losing that, you wouldn't be truthful or 100% about everything you're going to tell him. You're just going to color it in a nice way and give it to him so that at least, yeah, but I told you, so you have to forgive me. But then when you get to a point where you are truly sorry, you are truly remorseful about it, number one, you will know how to tell him about it. Number two, you would know who to speak to, because you can't just go and speak to any other person. Because I'm not a man, but I feel like if my partner should come to me with somebody or just anybody to come and tell me you cheated, you're already disrespecting me even worse. Because why are you bringing this person to come and tell me that you cheated? Do you get it? So you would know how to and who to. You could go for his pastor, but then some people might feel like coming with my pastor is already strong arming me into forgiving you, because the pastor is going to be all about to err is human, to forgive is divine, and she is sorry. God has told us. You wouldn't really allow him the space to process the feelings on his own, to be angry if he wants to be angry. There's no way if somebody comes to me with my pastor, tell me, oh, Esther, this and this and this, but the person is sorry. I can't be angry because my pastor is, I have a blackmail into accepting it for what it is. If you come with his mother too, you know mother for you. Oh, forgive her, she's sorry. Either that, or if it's a mother that doesn't, she didn't already like you from the oh, you are gone. She's gonna tell you, I warned you. Don't get so. I told you so. I told you from the beginning that she's not good. I brought somebody from my village for you, but she said no. You get it? So we'll know how to, the best person, and I always feel like the best person would be a third party that is not already involved in your life. So then there's no bias. I wouldn't come in already supporting her, already how do the both of you make that decision on your own? I'm not going to influence your decision. I'm not coming to tell you to forgive her. I'm also not coming to tell you to let her go. But just for you to understand that this is what has happened. This is what led to what happened. These are your options. How are you going to move on? So it's usually advisable that you get a third party that has no relationship with either of you. Most likely a counselor, most likely a psychologist.
Okay. Thank you so much.
That's where we, the pastors and the counselors, will come in.
Exactly.
I am one of the people who advocates that all pastors should be trained as counselors. The fact that somebody is a counselor doesn't mean there are certain instances where there is danger. Once these truths come out, somebody is planning how to hurt another person. And the pastor comes in and is like, oh, just forgive them. It's going to be fine. And we keep on massaging something that is rotten. We keep on protecting rotten milk until the worst comes to pass. So personally, though I'm a pastor, I'm a trained counselor, and if I have a case of that nature, there is no way I'm going to tell the man that, oh, let her go, or no, have your own options. Have your own options. There is a book I read some time back, Healing After Trust is Broken. I've forgotten the writer. I guess I got the title right, but it was somebody's real life story, and this one was cheated on by the pastor, and she wrote down the steps she took to get the healing. Are you getting it? So
those options will be made available. And once they are available, the people should choose. Like she's saying, you shouldn't force anybody. Unfortunately, in the church today, you see somebody who has done something wrong, they come and pastor is pampering one person. The person who has done something wrong, and it's not right. It's not right. He has done something wrong. We are supposed as believers to tell the people the truth. Let them know the truth. And if they still decide to go their way, the other day Joshua said, I put before you today life and death, so choose. Even God doesn't force us. So I think it is important that in handling certain kind of situations, unfortunately the counselors we are there, but we don't talk in Nigeria. We don't even know that our services are available. So I think that telling the person, we should allow the person to make their own choices as to what, this is the information, do with it what you want to do with it, but you guide the person. These are your pros and these are the cons, and then the person will make the choice.
Exactly. And to also add that, there's this funny thing that we do a lot. Oh, I said sorry, so why are you so angry? The fact that you said sorry doesn't take away from what you did to me. You still hurt me. So your sorry is like they always say, they'll give you a broken glass, tell you to use sellotape around it, and pour wine into it. You will see that it is still dripping out. Your sorry is like that sellotape around the broken glass. So you can't come and say, oh, maybe I said sorry, maybe I told you, but I've confessed. I don't care.
We hurt people and we want to define how to handle
exactly.
it. It's not right.
Because if you come and tell me sorry, I still have the right to be angry. I still have the right to yell. Because when you were doing what you were doing, you did it by yourself. So you can't come and use your sorry to, because they now use it to manipulate.
Yes.
Because, oh, but I apologize. I don't know why he's still holding on to it. No, that's wrong. I'm sorry I did what I did. I am going to give you the space you need to process your emotions. Exactly what I did. And let's know how we are going to move on. And then sometimes, and I'm not saying it is all men, but I actually had a case where they were courting and the lady cheated. I don't know whether I would say cheated because, yeah. But they were courting and then the lady sidestepped the man.
Okay.
The man found out. She didn't deny it. She accepted, okay, yes, I did it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give you space. The man said, no, I don't want space. I love you. No. She asked him, and then I feel like this is a lady who is self-aware of the psychological implications of cheating. She told him, no, I feel like you need space to process everything. The man said, no, once you've told me and you said sorry, I'm okay. It was hell. Because now when he calls and she doesn't pick, I know you are cheating. Because this is how
the real punishment is now here.
I told you to take time
to
deal
process
with your
it.
issues. But you said you were okay. And then now you call me and I don't pick the messages. The calls are coming. My mother wants to talk to you because you are breaking my heart. But then when she says, okay, take some time. No, I don't want to take time. I'm okay. I love you. We are fine. I'm strong. Every day I am strong. But then when you call and she doesn't pick, or you send a message and she takes time to respond, I know where you are. I know what you are doing. This is what you did the last time. I'm trying to move on, but you're making it hard. So in as much as we are emphasizing on the fact that the woman needs to, since we are focusing on women, the woman needs to confess, the man also needs some time to process it. You might think, oh, okay, I'm not hurt at this point. But sometimes some of these things take time to actually settle in you for you to know that this is actually what was said. Let's take, for instance, you go to the hospital and then you are told that, God forbid, you lost a relative. If you realize, some people say okay at that point. But then later, it now hits them that the person is actually dead. That's when they now process it. And it's the same as this emotional hurt that we are talking about. I might come to you and say, I cheated. And you would say, okay, at that point. it hasn't settled yet. When it settles, and then for men, the idea that another man has touched what is supposed to be for me is, you understand?
Yeah.
When it hits them at that point, that is when they now realize that hey, something has happened. So then when you have that time away, you are able to process it. And like I would always say it anywhere I go, seek psychological help. The cheater, the cheated, seek psychological help. When you process it, you seek help, you get the necessary help, then you'll be able to make a decision that you won't regret. If you decide to stay, you know that you are staying wholeheartedly, and you will never bring it up on her again that 3 years ago, that's the same way you went
People
out.
have diaries.
They're keeping record. They keep
have
record.
a diary.
They have a
And then they'll
diary
bring
and they
it
will
out.
write it.
22nd March 2019, 4:16 p.m.
On a
On a
Wednesday.
Wednesday, it was raining. Because
You
it's
see?
not forgiven fully. And then if you decide that you are going to go, you know that you are going. It's not the one you go and then
You come back.
you come back.
And then
it's
you
like,
go again.
I'll go, then you come back. Do you get it? So when you have that time to process everything, whatever decision you make, you know that I have thought about it and I am sticking to this decision.
Okay.
You know, while she was talking, something just came to mind. Before all this physical cheating and thing comes on, you would realize that people actually have the emotional side. They start bonding with somebody else. In some marriages, you see that the wife can confidently confide in the husband. One thing about cheating is that if you cover it, it will flourish. You are getting emotionally attached to somebody and you cover it. It will happen one day. But if you're able to open up to your husband that, hey, I'm getting attached to this person, then the two of you will find what? Solution to it. But there are situations that you dare not do that. By the time you do it, you say it means you have done it already. You see, so the woman will not be able to come boldly and say there are challenges to the husband. So I think on a platform like this, I want to encourage all couples. We have to create that relationship between us. If somebody is coming too close to my husband, I should be able to say it. And if I feel somebody is coming too close, the other time I was with my husband outside, we were doing something. And then there were some guys working at a particular corner. And the way he was staring at me, I said, man, you see, the guy, his eyes is on me. I said, you are very observant. you see how it goes about. We went about it. So if there are issues where a woman feels that somebody is getting too close, we should build our relationships. Unfortunately, many of us are not doing that. People are not communicating in their marriage until we come to hear the worst situations. How can you stay in the house with a husband or a wife and the person has been cheating for years and you have no idea? It means it's your body that is present. Because if I don't see it physically, I'll see it in a dream. And if I see it, it is true. Do you get what I am saying? So it is important that couples get that bonding. It is very important. We get the bonding and we allow people to make mistakes and we don't judge them. So I come to you and I tell you that something happened. My sister did something. Some people even go to that extent. The sister cheated and for some reasons, whilst communicating, the husband gets to know. The little argument, that's how you are in your family. That's how your sister has cheated. You too, you can go ahead and go and cheat. I mean, it's not right. It's not right. So I think we have to improve on our communications. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think Pastor made a comment that people don't seek the help of psychologists and then counselors in a lot of situations. And I think that people have this mindset that counselors or psychologists are for rich people. And so they don't seek their services when they need it. But then I'd like to use this opportunity to say that counselors are not only for rich people. Counselors are for everyone. Psychologists are for everyone. And so if you have any problem and you need a counselor, a psychologist, just reach out to them. I'm sure after this, our counselors and our psychologists will leave their contact info so that you can contact them anytime that we need them. Back to Pastor again. She made a comment that God is not an African. God is for everyone.
Yes.
So let's take this, that if a wife cheats on the husband, it is considered a very big taboo here in our part, Africa. But then sometimes when a man cheats, oh, let's just put it under the rugs. It's nothing, he's a man. So I want to know, if a man also cheats on the wife, is it right for him to tell her or not? So let me start with Mr. Wonder.
You didn't know that there would be twist and turn.
What I would say is that it's not right to go for somebody's wife because, like, that's the person's property, and if you go for somebody's property, the person will surely come at you. The person can kill you. You know, it's if two men share one, it will fight. So for the man, if you go for somebody, you are going to be in a big trouble because it's the person's property. So just as how you don't want someone to come for your wife, you shouldn't go for somebody's home because that's, for me, that's a death point. The person can enter the room and kill you or do anything to you, and that will be the end of it. So it's a very difficult thing, and I would say that it's not something that, apart from the taboo and the rest, just seem like for you. So if somebody's come for your wife, how will you feel and all that? And it's not something that you should do.
How would you feel if we were you? That question.
Okay. I thought you wanted to say something.
No,
Okay, so this thing has finally gotten to the men. So what if a man cheats? I think Mr. Wonder was saying that wife is somebody's property, and I think society have to change that narrative. I don't believe that women are people's properties. Women are people's partners. No, if I am your property, look, I want to explain it from this perspective, okay? We own properties, we buy them. Are you getting what I am saying? This chair is a property. But when God originally, he made all things and gave it to the woman, to the man. But when he was going to make a man, he took a rib from the side. When he was making a woman, he took the rib from the side of the man. Why didn't God take the toes of the man? Isn't it also bone? Or maybe this one, the fibula or the tibia, or any of the bones from the body? But he took it because God placed man and woman side by side. But our African culture, we have made it look like women are properties that should be handled, and no, it is not supposed to be so. It is not supposed to be so. It is one of the reasons why men feel entitled to cheating. They feel like once I cheat, it is fine. And I always tell my husband that, look, when it comes to the topic of cheating, do unto others. That's what he was saying. Just like you want others to do unto you. If they do this to you, will you love it? You are the husband. If your wife cheats on you, will you like it? If you will not take it, then don't do it for her. On her. Don't cheat on her. This is my point. Because if it is painful to you, then it is definitely painful to her. And I work as a nurse. You will see many of the women who have been hurt and cheated on. They will not say anything. Some of them will probably stay because they want to see their children grow. When the first daughter has a baby like this, when she goes to go and take care of that baby, you'll never come back home again. And you will see that it is when people grow and they are old that they start seeing the consequences of their actions, especially for men, especially because the men, once they are cheated on, the woman will stay for some time, but the man will sack the woman going. But if they are cheated on, the woman can pretend and they will stay. But they have planned their revenge for old age. And we are Christians, it's not supposed to be like that. But in any case, when a man cheats, he's supposed to let the partner know. And just like we expect the woman, we respect the actions the man will take, and we respect them, we should also respect what the woman will say. But you will see that in many of the cases, society will force the woman. And now you are a woman, you have to stay. I am not saying on this platform that when a man cheats on his wife, the woman should leave or the woman should stay. That choice is solely for the woman. I am a counselor and I am a pastor. That choice is solely for the woman. Make your own appraisal. whatever you see that it is good for you. And if you leave, it has consequences. If you decide to stay, it also has consequences. It also has consequences. So that is what I have to say. Thank you.
I'll start this question with you because you are a counseling psychologist. I want to know what support systems are in place in our current society for, since the focus is on women today, what support systems are in place for women who confess to their husbands that they've actually cheated? Is there any form of support system for them? And then if there is some support system, I'd like to know how it works.
Okay, thank you. So basically, the same support system that is there for people in abusive relationships, the same support that is there. We have counseling centers, we have women's centers, social service centers, and then even psychological centers for people to, speak about these things, because even you as the person cheating, you are still a victim. So all these things are in place for you. You just need to know the ones you have in your vicinity and walk up to them. But then I feel like the reason why a lot of people find it hard to do that is because of the stigma and the shame that comes with it. Because you feel like, what if I'm judged? Yeah. This is an African setting. In as much as we preach the whole no stigma, no judgment, we listen, we don't judge. It's automatic. It's sometimes very, very automatic that let's say I come to Lady Pastor. If I come and tell her that, oh, I cheated on my husband with 3 men, she doesn't mean to judge. You see, he just it's almost very natural. And then sometimes when they are telling you this, they are looking very intently at your face. So then the slightest facial expression, I shouldn't have said it. So then at that moment they just shut down, because they feel like nobody is going to understand me. Everybody is going to see me as a bad person and all of that. But then we always advise that you yourself, the one cheating, you're also a victim of circumstances. So you need help just as much as the one you cheated on needs help. So you should always seek help from a counselor, from a psychologist, in fact, from your pastors. We are hoping that most of the pastors that are there have, like she said, some training in counseling.
It is very important.
So you don't just look at it it's very important to look at it from the biblical sense, but you also need to understand that we are humans, we make mistakes.
So that by the time you say the next sermon I am having, you are the one on the pulpit.
Exactly. So
we do not want such
after
things.
I've spoken to my pastor, then the next day, all you women that cheat.
That's the topic of the sermon.
Exactly. But then when you have somebody that has a certain level of training in how to handle these cases, you know that my pastor is in Accra. I can go to him and tell him anything. I don't fear that, oh, maybe on Sunday then I'll hear him. No. Because he's been able to understand that we are humans. We are striving to be like Christ. We are not Christ. So that's why there's grace for
growth.
Thank you. That's why there's grace for growth. Because we know that you would stumble, you will fall at certain times. But you need to rise again. And then if my rising is being judged, I would rather stumble, stay down there and not tell anybody, because I don't want to be judged. Alright.
Yeah. So let's look at this. How can a wife obtain forgiveness from the husband, first of all, and then from God when the cheating has already taken place?
First of all, don't expect forgiveness from your husband. Okay. Forgiveness is not something you're supposed to expect.
It's just
the only person you tell God, I'm sorry, God will forgive you, because He has already said it, that I will forgive you. But from your husband, don't go expecting forgiveness so that I said sorry, okay? No.
Forgive me.
If I say sorry, it's up to you. All I have to do at this point, regardless of your forgiveness or not, all I have to do is apologize properly. Keyword, properly. I'm sorry. It's not an apology. Sorry is not an apology. I'm sorry you feel that way. It's not an apology. Despite how people, oh, I'm sorry you feel bad. No, you made me feel bad. Don't invalidate my feelings. All you need to do is apologize. I hurt you. I understand how you would feel because if I were to be in your position, I would not feel good about this. I am very sorry about the pain I have put you through. You first need to acknowledge what you have done. Apologize for that thing that you have done and then give him space. If he forgives you, glory be to God. If he doesn't forgive you, next time you learn your lesson. So we can't expect forgiveness from our partners. We can't. Because the moment we go in apologizing, expecting forgiveness, it's not like, oh, but I've said sorry to you 7 times. Why haven't you still forgiven me? Or, but I've said sorry. I expect us to move on. No, you can't expect forgiveness.
You know, I also want to add that as a society,
And especially as believers, we should learn how to hold each other in their weaknesses. There was a movie I watched a few days ago. It's a Nigerian movie. I think Madam Chioma or something acted that movie. When I was coming here, I tried to get the title. Unfortunately, it was out of my download files. And it was a story of a pastor who was cheating. One thing we should know is that this thing about cheating has no respect for rank. It has no respect for individuals. And in fact, it is one of the things we are going to fight till nobody outgrows it. So there is no way I'll go and sit somewhere and say, now, I've been a pastor for the past 50 years, so I am above cheating. No. Yeah, people end up badly, and it shouldn't be our testimony. But what I am trying to say is that in that particular movie, this pastor has been cheating, and he's a chronic cheater. And it's not just that he's a chronic cheater, but he always finds pleasure in abusing the women whilst having encounters with them. And it was only traced back, and he's a pastor. It was traced back later that he had a childhood where he was abused as a child. Do you get what I am saying? The woman or the wife was patient until they traced the source. So sometimes people become certain kind of things that we may say, oh, a chronic cheat or something. What I am trying to say is that as a society, we should be able to give people second chances. We shouldn't just throw them out. The woman who was caught in adultery, did she commit it? Yes. Was she caught? Yes. And of course, society was biased again. They left the man and they brought the woman alone. And they wanted to stone her to death, you know. But Jesus said that if you've not committed something like that, stone him. Stone her first. Be the first to cast the stone. But that is not even where my issue is. Jesus said to her, go and sin no more. So the lesson is that when a thing of this nature happens to somebody, what is it that the person is learning from? There is a woman of God who is from Nigeria and she's been preaching. The husband had 2 children outside of marriage, but they are still married. And that is her pain. God has turned it into a testimony. So sometimes people who go through these things, they can become very useful materials for the kingdom. So I think
A little bit. Yes. I agree with everything she said about the second chance and all of that. But then I also want it to be known that second chances don't always mean I'm going to stay with you.
yes, of course. Of course, that is never to say that you are going to stay together. No. If the person feels I am staying, it is their personal problem.
Yes. My second chance could be I forgive you.
But it's over.
But exactly.
It's over, yeah.
I forgive you. I hold no grudge against you. I won't see you outside and pour you dirty water.
Or acid.
Exactly. But go your way, let me go my way. My forgiveness has not grown to the point where I can still sleep and wake up and see you and not want to start. Do you get it?
God help us.
Exactly.
But is that really a second chance?
Yes.
No, it's not a second chance.
It is.
How is it a second chance?
No, it's a second chance in the sense
You are not there, so how is it a second chance?
no, it's a second chance in the sense that once you hurt me, you decided how you are going to hurt me. My response to you, it is stimuli. I will decide how I'm going to respond to you. The only second chance I'm giving you is that this person I'm not breaking your head.
People can go to the
Wow.
extreme when it comes to
Exactly.
cheating.
Because
It's-
even
it's
if I
bad.
decide that I am going to stay with you, and I know deep down I can't stay with you, but I am forcing, or people are forcing me, or you are manipulating me, it's going to be hell for you and for me. Because at that point, if I love you here, the love has come here.
Of course, every marriage that has that will crash. And you have to start all over again.
Exactly.
All over.
And then the little things, like the example I gave, if I call you and you don't pay, hey, you write this.
Oh, I'm in the studio now. I told my husband I'm in the studio. It's five minutes. I said I'll come home 9. 5 minutes after 9 is not home. Hey, where is she?
Exactly.
You know? In fact, you create stress for
You
for
have to come
everybody.
and write a full thesis with examples and witnesses as to where you were, because they'll now calculate it. It's very okay. Let's look at Ho, for instance. There's really no traffic in Ho compared to Accra. And then let's say if I'm married, my husband knows that it takes me 7 minutes to move from work to the house, and I use 8. That's 1 minute. You were kissing a man. Yes, you were kissing a man, kissing to you. Then you will come and explain. No, I couldn't get keke on time. I know the 7 minutes factors into the fact that you won't get keke on time. Now it's 8 minutes. Where were you? You have started again. And then all this, it's not that the man is not trying to forgive you, but he doesn't have that capacity in him to stay with you after the cheating. So the second chance is for me not to stress you like that, and for me not to stress myself like that. I forgive you. God bless you. Go to front. Let me go back front. If I say you, hello, hi, bye bye.
Lady Esther, you know, sometimes it's not that easy as we say it. And as a counselor, one of the things I actually advise is that sometimes when it happens like that, you just give the marriage a break. You separate for some time. And it doesn't mean we are divorced, we separate. But at the heat of the motion, at the heat of the moment, we are not able to really process things properly. Yes, so there is a need. Maybe the man moves out or the woman stays out. If children are involved, it's even more complex. So you stay apart for some time and you process things over and over again. And if the two of you now finally agree that, okay, we still want to continue with this marriage, you do it.
Yeah.
But you know, to avoid all this, I tell people that let us set boundaries for ourselves. Recently, I was invited by the students of UHAS to do some teaching, and I was telling them that to cheat is an option. And even before you're married, make up your mind that once you are married, you are married. Every other door, you may be as fine as something, you may be as powerful as something, but I am married. The door is closed. If we are not set this boundary psychologically, we'll be amazed what we'll do even though we are married. Yeah. So I will encourage people as couple, nobody is above cheating, but let us create proper systems. And let us create proper boundaries. Once we create the systems and boundaries, you respect them yourself. Because you don't create boundaries and you do not respect them. I don't stay outside for too long except for ABC. Or I don't do anything except I do ABC. You have to respect your own boundaries.
Exactly.
You have to respect
And
them.
even with the boundaries, it's not just when you get married. Because I always feel like what you see in the relationship is the same thing you see in the marriage. Just that one has now grown more muscles. Your boundaries need to start from relationship.
Single ladies.
Sister, single lady. Yeah. You are not going to give somebody the green light. The person is calling you at 9:30, 10 to do what?
And why are you picking?
Because you have no boundaries. So we need to, yes, we need it.
Before you get there, because you can't say, oh, when I marry, then I'll start. You lie bad. You lie bad. Once you don't start it now, because all these things are learned behaviors. So if you don't start it now and you are waiting till you get married, you will see one that is more muscular than your baby, one that is more richer than your baby. If you were not able to set those boundaries from when you were single, to know that I do not entertain male friends to this extent. You come to my house to see me, I'll stand with you at the gate and talk to you. When you finish, okay, bye-bye, okay, bye-bye. I will not come to your house at certain times to come, oh, I'm going to cook for you. As what? So when
as friends, they say.
So when you set these boundaries, It's very important to set the boundaries even before you even start to think of marriages. Because the boundaries is what will help you choose a partner, stick with that partner, and avoid every other side attractions.
Well, I was just trying to listen to the two of you, and so many things were going through my mind actually. Let me just add that, you see, all these things that we have said. Yes, boundaries. We set boundaries, but it also, I'll put it that it also depends on. In addition to setting the boundaries, it also depends on where you find yourself. I mean, it's very debatable actually, but that's the reality. Where you find yourself and what you have to deal with. Because sometimes you said by 7 o'clock you are not supposed to be out of the house. But situation demands that you should be out
so
of
she gave
the.
examples. She
of
gave,
the-
will I say, conditions that would allow for that. For instance,
Exactly.
this is almost 10 o'clock. On a normal, I'm supposed to be in bed, but I'm here. Yes, so there are certain conditions that would warrant you being out. But the whole thing is
You should know the person.
knowing, yes,
Yes.
how to set those limits with opposite sex friends to avoid, I slipped, is the work of the devil. If you don't put yourself in that position, the devil cannot come and tell
You know, one thing I say is that if your Christianity doesn't work in Africa, forget about it working in Europe or Asia. And if your Christianity doesn't work in Europe, Christianity is not continental kind of thing. So I am in Africa or so it works. Because you said that it will depend on where you are. So if we are training ourselves as Christians, which we claim we are, the word of God doesn't have limits. It works in Africa, Asia, Europe, or everywhere, irrespective of where we are. It's just the matter of choice. And we should make the choice and then we ourselves follow them. Thank you very much.
This was a very exciting and thrilling session. I loved it, and I'm sure you loved it too. We've been looking at cheating, whether a wife should inform the husband when she cheats or not. And I've learned a lot. I may not have a pen and paper here, but trust me, I've learned a lot. And I hope that you've also jotted down some points that are going to help you in your everyday life, whether you are single, you are in a relationship, or you are married. Before we end, I'd like to give my guests 1 minute each to give us their final message as well as any other information they'd like to give out. So I'll start with Pastor Mandy.
Thank you very much. So, in conclusion, everybody can overcome cheating. It's just a matter of choice. And we need the help of God to be able to do that. Thank you so much for having me today. And you can follow me on TikTok. I'm Pastor Mandy, PS Mandy on TikTok. I run this organization, Destined Marriages. We organize conferences for single people, schools, churches, and anything you want to. We also do counseling services. You can contact me on 05410 another 10027. I will expect your call. Thank you so much. And happy Valentine's Day to my husband, Reverend Oliver.
Okay, so yeah, being honest about your shortcomings, your cheating is really important. But then you need to know how and when to do that. Yeah, so like I said, I work in Home Teaching Hospital as a counseling psychologist. So I am available from Wednesdays to Fridays. If you have any psychological issues or you just want to talk, you can come and meet me there. Thank you.
Thank you. The only gentleman in our midst.
Okay. Yeah, so in conclusion, I would say that for a woman and you are finding yourself in such a situation, yes, you can just go to your husband and talk to him, but be ready for whatever will come up and deal with it. But make a decision. If it's a decision, go forward and do it. But when you are not ready, don't do it. That's all I will say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This has been a wonderful session on Social Segment on Father's Joy channel with your host, Bernadette Pearl Saka Amandi. Don't forget to follow all our social media platforms social segments on Father's Joy on TikTok, and also follow Father's Joy channel on TikTok, on YouTube, and any other social media platform. It has been a very, very wonderful time with our guests here. I'm so grateful for them. It was a pleasure having all of you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.